So the new I, the Somnium Files game, Nirvana Initiative, came out, and I thought it was pretty damn good. Actually, you know what? I'm not even gonna do the script. I had this whole intro written out, but I need to talk about how much I love this game. I love I, the Somnium Files, Nirvana Initiative. I don't think I can stress enough how much I enjoyed this game. And when I check online, I feel like I might actually be the biggest fan of this game that's out there. That's not to say I haven't seen other people enjoying it, and I'm glad we can all say it's pretty good overall. But I don't know, man. There is something about this game that hits me right where I need it to, you know? It just hits me in a way so unlike anything else I've played in such a long time. And I want to share more about this game with people who might not know about it. I was a really big fan of the first game, so I had some pretty high expectations going in. I even stayed away from almost every trailer before playing it because I wanted my experience to be as blind as the first game was, which I just kind of bought on a whim because it was on sale, and I ended up loving it. Doing my brief search online, I'm pretty sure I'm like one of the 3 people who actually likes this game more than the first one, but I don't know, there's just something about it that I love. But also in searching online, I found that not as many people as I expected are playing this game or are on the fence. So as the self-appointed biggest Canadian fan of this game, I've decided to make a video selling you on Nirvana Initiative. Unless you've already bought it, in which case then I'm just sort of telling you why I think it's really good. But that should still be fun. This video will be entirely spoiler-free, by the way. All of my talking points will be vague enough, but enough to hopefully make you interested. If anyone wants to talk spoilers, please don't put them in the comments. I want this video to be safe for all potential new fans. I'll be removing them if you do put spoilers, even with the warning. Let's just keep it safe, guys, because I want this to be a good introduction for people getting into the series. I'll probably be talking about this game a lot on Twitter, so if you ever want to hear my thoughts on it, you can probably just follow me or just at me and ask me something and I'll answer. But for now, let's talk about why you should play this game. To start off, let's talk about what the series is for those who don't know. I, the Somnium Files, or is it AI, the Somnium Files? I actually never knew what the proper name of this game was, but I'm just gonna call it I, because that's easier to say. I, the Somnium Files is a series created by Kotaro Uchikoshi, known for the Zero Escape series mostly. It follows special Abyss agents as they investigate bizarre killings and have to sink into people's dreams in order to find information that they refuse to reveal themselves. The dream world being called a Somnium. Most agents have an AI ball in one of their eyes that acts as both a better eye and an AI to solve the case with. Every Somnium functions differently and reflects the character's mental state. Finding how the Somnium's rules work is generally the key to solving it. Occasionally within the Somnium, multiple ways of proceeding will present themselves, which allow you to pick a different story route. In order to get the true ending in both games, every route must be played eventually, so don't worry about the order too much. Nirvana Initiative is actually pretty restrictive about what routes you can access at what time, so just play how you want and you'll be fine. So to answer the first question that people have with sequels, no, you absolutely do not need to play the first one to enjoy this game. The very first scene of this game asks you if you've played the first one, and even tests your knowledge to make sure you're not lying. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't play the first game. If you can, I absolutely recommend it. But if you specifically want to play this, that is also entirely okay. And the other question from people who have played the first game is what route this one follows, which I can say is the true ending. Any discrepancies you may have noticed in the trailers or footage is cleared up pretty early on. In terms of how it compares to the first game, the answer will vary from person to person. Most people agree that the story of Nirvana Initiative is far larger than one's more grounded story. Some love it, some don't connect as much, and that's okay. The gameplay is vastly improved, with Somniums making much more sense and investigations being far more fun. The characters are all great. I was very skeptical going in because I like the cast of one a lot, but by the end, I'd say I like this game's cast even better. If you absolutely love the first game's cast and want a whole nother game with them, you won't quite get that, but they still appear and have some good moments in the story. And of course, this game features Uchikoshi's usual crazy, horny humor, albeit in a different way than before. If you like the humor of the last game, I think you'll definitely like this one too. Now let's get into what I really love about this game and why I think everyone should give it a shot. The main premise of the game is that half of a body randomly appears in a studio one day. Then 6 years later, the other half is found, with the time of death being 10 hours ago. It's up to you to solve the mystery of the half-body serial killings. Already, from the beginning, I think this is an extremely interesting premise. It plays with the idea of what is and isn't possible. Your goal is to deduce if this is somehow supernatural or how it could be humanly possible. The story is split into 2 perspectives, with Ryuki's side and Mizuki's side, showing both the past of 6 years ago and the present. At first, I wasn't sure how to feel that we'd have to go through the entirety of Ryuki's side to unlock Mizuki in the present, as I kind of expected that we would switch perspectives like multiple times throughout the story, but I will say, Ryuki won me over very quickly. I thought it was a nice dynamic flip to make Tama the perverted one to Ryuki's like normalcy, as opposed to Date and Aiba in the first game. Very quickly, Ryuki and Tama grow on you. They have great chemistry and make you want to examine everything just to hear their banter. You'll also get introduced to your main cast in this part, and they're all very memorable. Some have better impressions than others, but seeing them grow over time is a way of making you like at least most of them. Except for Ota. I still kinda think he's annoying and actually just the worst thing ever. I hate Ota. The story also takes no time to start heating up. You get introduced to some seemingly antagonistic figures very early in the chapters, and their looming presence really helps the stakes of the game always come through. Honestly, this game has a great balance of characters. You got people you know you can trust, people you want to trust, people you know are against you, people who you're pretty sure are against you, and just people whose side you can't tell at all. I also feel like the Somniums in this game were a lot more frequent, which I think helped with the pacing. The first game took a bit to hook me, because I found the beginning to take a while to get interesting. In this game, after almost every investigation, you're heading into a new Somnium that will reveal something that will get you even more interested. I never felt bored in this game. It never felt slow. It never felt fast. I thought the pacing was actually just right. So with the interesting and ever-developing story, alongside some charming characters, I think Ryuki's Side is a perfect introduction into the HB case that leaves us craving for more. And of course, after finishing Ryuki's Side, we gain the ability to unlock Mizuki's Side. I'll be more vague with this section because you're supposed to know a fair bit by the time you hit this point, but this only continues to make the story more interesting. Mizuki is my favorite main character out of the series so far. I think she's just the most fun to interact with people, and honestly, just the coolest. Unfortunately, I do think her chemistry with Aiba is the least fun among the Sinkers, but it's made up for me by every other interaction being great. And it's not bad by any means, it's just that like Date and Aiba had the perfect chemistry, while Mizuki and Aiba mainly argue over things like, who's cutest, which is fun in its own right, but Date and Aiba just have that charm. Mizuki's Side is definitely when the story starts to ramp up to a climax, with multiple routes giving you little bits of more and more information to paint a full picture in the final route. It's really cool seeing characters 6 years later and seeing who has and hasn't changed. Not every design is different, and I think it's intentional. It's trying to show who is still stuck in the past after the events that happened in Ryuki's Side. And while that could just be me covering for them not making new models, I think it's an interesting enough visual representation that I don't really care. I think the Somniums also really start shining in this side, with some of the most visually creative and disturbing things I've seen in this series. Oh, this is also probably a good chance to mention that this game is kind of unsettling at points. There's a lot of meta references and ARG-like elements that some don't like, but I personally love. They would genuinely give me this creepy feeling that characters know things they shouldn't, and I love getting that feeling in video games. They trick my brain into getting spooked by fictional characters. That's some good writing. The very first scene of the game has a disembodied voice asking the player through Ryuki's body if they've played the first game. They could have done this in a little menu box before the game starts, but no. It's made clear that entities know that you are a player controlling characters, and that on its own is kind of terrifying. That's not the point of the story, however. That's more like the cherry on top. At its core, I think this game balances these huge plots with a lot of personal struggles very well. You will feel what characters are going through and want to help them. Finding that perfect balance is hard, and I commend this game for attempting it, and succeeding with me at least. But to bring this back to Mizuki's Side, this all really comes to fruition in the present and shows some pretty creepy stuff that I love. Even just some of the locations will leave you feeling pretty sick after knowing what was happening to someone there. If you love that feeling of discomfort in murder mystery stories, you'll enjoy this. Overall, Mizuki helps elevate the character interactions after the protag switch, while the story ramping up truly makes the stakes come to light. I found the big twist and culmination of everything very satisfying, but it will vary from person to person obviously. I thought the epilogue itself was a little underwhelming, but I like the actual ending of the conflict enough that it didn't really bother me. So overall, we have a story with two protagonists, both great in their own ways, great character interactions, a very intriguing core mystery, and fun gameplay elements to try out in every Somnium. Even without the more controversial meta and ARG aspects, the foundation of this game is incredibly solid. I think almost anyone can play this game and enjoy some parts of it. And if you're like me and enjoy meta and ARG content, you'll love it. I don't need everyone to enjoy this game as much as I do. I'm already aware that I like it more than most. I just want people to give this series a chance. There's so much good content that I think so many people would enjoy, yet I rarely see people discussing the game who don't already know about it. If this video interested you in any way, I implore you to buy this game and try it out. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. It would make my day. I absolutely love this game, and I want others to try it out and see if they love it too. Thank you for watching this video. This is pretty different from what I usually do, so if you enjoyed it, please let me know. I'd love to do more sometime with other games I love, but without further ado, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it interested you in Nirvana Initiative, and thank you for watching. Peace out.